Hello, this is Josh with Smoke Anywhere for Pennies, and I'm here to talk to you about the Drunker Rebuildable Atomizer. Remember, in all rebuildable atomizers, including the Drunker tank, you will find your own methods and which work for you. These are just guidelines, and this is what works for me. The first thing I'm going to talk about today is the materials that I use to rebuild this atomizer. A syringe to transport the liquid, clippers to clip the wire. I use 2 pairs of tweezers, one thick, one thin. 32 gauge Kanthal wire, 2.5 milliliter silica wick, the atomizer itself, Penny's Girl Vanilla, which has a 100% vegetable glycerin base, and of course my Z-Max Mini. Alright, let's get to the rebuild. I've been using this device for about 2 weeks now, so it no longer has a factory wick inside of it, but that's alright, it'll still work the same. First thing we need to do is take off the cap. Once you have the cap off, you will notice there is a pre-rolled wick that the factory has already installed for you. This wick is good to vape on for about a week or so you'll know exactly how you need your Drunker to vape. The next step in rebuilding this device is taking the second cap off, right here. Just make sure there's no liquid inside of your device whenever this happens. Once you have the cap removed from the tank, you will notice it looks just like this. There are multiple options as to what you do next. Some people pull the wicks down to the side. In my opinion, if you're going to be rebuilding, it is just best to cut them because they will be out of your way for good. Your next step will be to remove this little metal piece right here. I use tweezers. Some people use their fingernails. There's really no wrong way to do it. After the metal piece is removed from the bottom of the device, you want to turn it over. And then, simply grab and take the wick out. After you have your wick removed, you'll notice there will still be a piece of plastic right here. Sometimes it comes out with the wick, sometimes it does not. If it doesn't, that's okay. Just take your tweezers and gently pull it out. After you have the plastic piece removed from the device, you want to flip it over. And you'll notice a little piece of rubber right here. Some people like to push this out. I personally like to grab it with my tweezers and just pull it. After you have taken this device completely apart, these are the necessary pieces that you should still have. Now let's get to rebuilding this thing. Let's talk about recoiling. All you have to do is take your 2.5 millimeter wick and fold it in half. After you have done this, you want to wrap the 32 gauge Kanthal wire dead center in the middle and put 3 coils on it. 1, 2, 3. It should look something like this, and occasionally it will take some adjusting to make the coils even. After you have coiled your wick, you want to take your rubber piece that was originally at the top of the device and put each one of the coils in the holes on the side. After the coil is through the holes, you gently want to grasp your wire, grasp the rubber piece, and pull. Once you have done so, you should end up with something that looks somewhat like this. Once that has been complete, you want to take your Drunker tank again and just put the rubber piece inside this hole with the wires. It should slide nicely down in there, and you will end up with a product that looks like this. Once this has been completed, you need to make a positive and a negative lead with the wires, which is what this little rubber piece is for. So what you're going to do is place one wire inside the rubber piece and slide it on. You may end up with a rubber piece that does not want to go in the hole. In this situation, you're just going to take your tweezers and force it in there. Once this rubber piece is placed inside the hole, you want to make sure it is nice and tight. Once you have finished this step, you will end up with something that looks like this. A wire that is on the outside of the rubber, and a wire that is on the inside of the rubber. After this stage is complete, you want to pull both wires to the side because we're going to put the final metal piece inside of this hole. So your final step is to take this metal piece and place it inside of the rubber hole. So your coil is complete, but we're not finished yet. Your next step is to trim the wires as closely to the device as possible. After this step has been completed, you just want to simply take a pair of scissors and trim the wick. Your next step is to place the excess wick inside of these holes. To do so, we recommend using a little bit of e-liquid just to soften up the tip. In my opinion, once you have started getting the wick inside the hole, it is best to take a pair of tweezers and pull instead of push. Once you have your first wick through, you will end up with something like this. If it frays like this, it's not to worry. It'll work just fine. After you've completed getting the wick through the holes, it should look something like this. And remember, this width length is my preference. Try cutting them long, try cutting them short, and just find something that works best for you. Your next step is attaching these two pieces, the tank to the top cap. You do so by putting the wicks on the outside of the silver posts and then just screwing it in. I am using a Z-Max Mini to test the Drunker tank out. All I'm going to do is screw the Drunker tank into the Z-Max Mini. After the Drunker tank is attached, I'm just going to add a little bit of liquid to prime it. After you have primed the Drunker tank, I'm going to go to option number 5 on my Z-Max and change the setting to DR so I can test the resistance. Once you have changed your Z-Max to this setting, you will simply press the button and it should read between 2 and 2.5 ohms for the perfect coil on the Drunker tank. After you have tested the Drunker tank's resistance, we need to add some liquid. All you have to do for this is unscrew your cap. Then, simply put your syringe inside and fill it up about halfway with liquid. For the Drunker tank, I recommend not filling it up over halfway with e-liquid just to prevent extra spillage. Now our final step is to screw the cap on. Remember, this is a tank that does not require a drip tip, even though it does have a 510 connection at the top if you desire to use one. Now let's go have a vape. Alright, so we're finished recoiling the Drunker tank. Let's see how it vapes. I'm using a 100% VG-based tobacco flavor called Penny's Girl, which you can also find on SmokeAnywhereForPennies.com. As you can see, lots of vapor production, good throat hit, and it's just an all-around great device. If you have any further questions about this device, visit us on SmokeAnywhereForPennies.com, email us, call us, or visit our storefront located in Matthews, North Carolina. I'm Josh Ward. Thank you for watching.